Good evening, everyone. So tonight, we definitely have a special for one you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because before I leave this earth, I want to know that I had a purpose. I want to know that I did something. I said something for my people and with my people. And all of us have different purposes in life. We all have different connections on different energy levels in life. But ladies and gentlemen, as people from the Black new media has been trying to tell you guys over and over again, that Democrats, whether they're Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, doesn't matter what creed, what ethnic, what race, they continue to undermine us and disrespect us over and over again. So this is the reason for a lot of this information that comes out. And it really is so simple that if someone showed you something that you can really just understand on a very layman sort of way. So with that being said, I'm not going to draw this out tonight. We're going to get right to it. So here before you, ladies and gentlemen, I have the Congressional Black Caucus. And this is about what the Congressional Black Immigrant Caucus is all about. They said reform of the criminal justice system, eliminate barriers to reentry. Now, don't forget that the Congressional Black Caucus should be working for Black people, just like other caucuses work for their people. There is a Congressional Black Caucus. There's a Congressional Hispanic Caucus. There is a Congressional Asian Caucus. And everybody should be working for their own interests. See, that's the thing that people don't go over. Your caucus, your congressional members, those who resemble and look like you and quote unquote supposed to have the same experience culturally. That's the reason for these congressional caucuses, to show diversity, so every group of people have a voice, that every group of people has a congressional level to submit their complaints. But the problem is, in order for Democrats to stay in power, you need to stay poor. And I just want to let you know, I'm apolitical. I'm not a Republican, independent. I'm not politically affiliated. I let politicians be politicians. That's the problem. Some of us think we're politicians because you watch CNN and Fox News all day and you say, I voted last time as a Democrat, so I'm a Democrat. No, you're not a Democrat. You're someone who voted democratically. That is what we need to understand. You're someone who voted democratically. Good evening, Jermaine. That's the problem that far too many of us actually face. That's the problem. That's the problem. So it says here, the Congressional Black Caucus, combating voter suppression, expanding access to world-class education from pre-K through post-secondary level. You first and foremost, you understand they're not saying anything about black people. Let me continue. Expanding access to quality, affordable health care, eliminating racial health disparities. Racial for who? Expanding across the 21st century technologies, blah, 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 right? Then it states right here, family, expanding to access to capital, contracts, and counseling for minority-owned businesses. And we know automatically minority is a group of people, not black people, but this is the Congressional Black Caucus. They continue to tell you one thing, expecting you to vote so they can stay in power. See, this is about power, authority, and economics. It really is. When these people are in office, believe it or not, they have a lot of power to shift the tide. If Black Americans as a group come above the poverty level, do you understand Democrats will no longer be in power? They need people to be poor in order to say we're for you. If there's no more poor people, then why would we need Democrats? See, have you ever thought about it that way? Think about that. Oh yeah, we're getting into it tonight. I can't come back from this one. Because I'm telling you the truth here. That's the issue. So it says expanding access to capital contracts accounts for minority-owned businesses. That means Hispanics. That means white women. That means Asian Pacific Islanders, Afghanis. Yep, all of them. And then it says promoting U.S. foreign policy initiatives in Africa and other countries consistent with fundamental right of human dignity. Now, that is the Congressional Black Caucus. So they're for minorities. Congressional Black Caucus is for minorities. All right. Okay. And so let me put things into perspective why that really means something, family. So here we're on Census Bureau, census.gov, and we see that supposedly in America there's only 13.4 Black Americans. Then we see 18.5% Hispanic. We see here around 6% for Asian. So essentially, if Hispanics are 18.5 and Asians are 6, and we have all these other minorities in here, American, Indian, and Alaska Native, they're 1%. So tell me something, family. Why is the Congressional Black Caucus helping everybody else out? If there's a Congressional Black Caucus and a Congressional Hispanic Caucus and a Congressional Asian Pacific and Allied Caucus, then why in the hell is our caucus talking about damn minorities? And this is just 25% of it, right? Now, moving along, because I want to make sure you can compare and contrast here. What is this? This is the Asian Pacific American Caucus, Congressional Caucus. Let me see what they say here in their purpose. To ensure that legislation passed in the United States Congress to the greatest extent possible provides for full participation of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders and reflect the concerns and the needs of the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities. You will keep saying all down the line, Asian and American Pacific Islanders. You do not see the word minority. I showed you in the Congressional Black Caucus, family, that they don't even have the word black. They don't even have the word black. According to the census record, melanated people like myself, unfortunately, are considered black, which we're not, by the way, because black has no color. We're kind of a deep brown, you know. But the point I'm making, I wanted to, again, let me just go back. Let me just go back and look at this. I'm looking at the purpose of who the Congressional Black Caucus, and I'm saying I don't see the word black at all. The word I do see is minority. That's the word I do see. But when I go over to the Asian Pacific Islander ones, I keep saying Asian American Pacific Islanders. They are working on the behalf of their people. This is a big smack in the face. This is, if anyone is still asleep, I need you to wake the hell up. You keep voting for a party that undermines you at every take. We understand that Congressional Black Caucus is made up mostly of Democrat members. Let me move right along. Moving to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Now, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, is every Hispanic you know, do they look white like that? Do they look white like that? They have all white Hispanic folks up there. So that's why you're on your applications and different forms, you'll see that they say white, not Hispanic, or Hispanic and white, because Hispanics can come to America and be considered white. Just like Afghans. Afghans can come here and consider themselves white. So it's imperative that you understand that, no, man, you Afghani, I am white. According to the census.gov, they're white. So again, I'm sorry. Let me read what this group is all about. It says here that it deals addressing national and international issues and craft policies that impact the Hispanic community. The Hispanic community. And it says here that the caucus is dedicated to voicing and advancing through the legislative process issues affecting Hispanics in the United States, Puerto Rico, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Again, they say they're freaking group. They're working on the behalf of Hispanics. Asians are working on the behalf of Asians. The congressional black ass kickers are working on the behalf of the Democrats by the way of immigration and every other minority group except the one that look like you and I. They look like you, but they are not for you. And it all starts, or it can all begin with this gentleman, the Honorable and Representative James E. Clyburn, or as I would like to call him, Jim Crow Joe Clyburn. Have a certain ring to it, doesn't it? Because here's the thing, the quickest way that you fool a group of people is you get first people that look like them, that emulate them, that can somewhat relate to them. And then you put them in positions of power and you say, as long as you are a puppet and do as we tell you to do, we'll keep you powerful. You'll live a great life. You'll wear the nicest suit. You eat the finest food. We will take care of you as long as we can continue to keep your group down. This is what happens. And sometimes people just need, yeah, man, I don't know why I did this, and I don't know why I voted that way, and I don't know why I believe this, but that's what I believe, until somebody show them the difference. So let me show you something. First and foremost, this is Jim Clyburn's congressional bills that's going up. This is called the Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act. If you notice, last year, he put it into office in 2019 to 2020. And Trump, of course, did not have this to go anywhere. The Catawba Indian National Lands Act is for a group of who? Native Americans, not black people. Why is the majority whip, so-called black American, is passing things on the behalf of a group before his own people? But maybe showing you the bill here is not enough. Like, well, he's a congressman, Ross. He got to put up bills for every group. And I would say in some sorts of the word, you are right. But what if he explained why? What if he explained why he want Native Americans to have more land? Not the land that your forefathers and your ancestors built on for this country. So maybe you need to hear it from the horse's mouth. This is why he is supporting them. Jim, don't let us down.
I rise today to call upon this august body for a favorable vote on H.R. 1619. That's a very interesting number.
So again, here's the disrespect. The H.R. bill is 1619, but it's for Native Americans. And he said that has some sort of strong resemblance. Yeah, why you don't think that's disrespectful, Jim? That, you know what? I'm going to let it play. I'm going to let it play before I get off here.
For this legislation. This legislation known as the Catawba Indian Nations Lands Act. The Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act clarifies the Catawba Indian Nation is subject to the well-established rules and regulations of the Indian Game and Regulatory Act on their modern and ancestral lands in the state, of North Carolina. This legislation will clarify the tribe's 1993 Land Claims Settlement Act and reaffirm recent action taken by the Department of Interior to take land into trust for the tribe.
Here it comes.
Most importantly, this bipartisan legislation is a very significant step
Get on with it, Jim.
towards rectifying historic injustices that have been perpetrated against the Catawba
What? Historical what? Let me back that up. Did y'all hear that?
perpetrated against the Catawba Indian Nation. Like in many other instances of current effects of historical inequities, the Catawba Nation experiences high unemployment.
Oh, wow. So the Native Americans experience high unemployment. Have you ever heard Jim Clyburn speak up for freaking black people like that? Probably not.
And poverty rates, causing many of its citizens to rely on federal and state
Really?
governments for basic social service.
Oh my God, that sounds like black Americans. But then again, another person that looks like you that's not for you. The honorable, the despicable Jim Joe Crow Clyburn. It's quite unbelievable, family, that we continue to vote these guys into office, and a lot of us are so blind we just keep voting Democrat, or some of us Republican. I don't understand. None of these groups has done anything for us, but they continue to do stuff for other groups. But wait, there's more. So for you guys who are not familiar with HR 1909, Citizenship for Essential Workers, let me just break this down to you that this is to help illegal aliens become citizens in your land. Yep. I know some of you probably got friends, maybe some of you got families, but here's the point. We use this term. If you continue to do something over and over again, expecting different results, then that's insanity. Then that means that majority of black Americans are insane, because I don't have no idea why we continue to vote people into office that does everything for everyone else except their own group. And we're too dumb, too stupid, too deaf to listen to people who are basically showing you right here on government websites how they benign neglect you and smack you in your damn face. I do not understand. Some people think it's their civic duty. Some people think it's their ancestral duty to go and vote. No, they fought and bled the right for us to vote. Our obligations are to our people. See, everybody else has pride. Everybody else has unity. But when we start talking about them, we're black militants. No, you should be for your people just like other groups are for their people, as I showed you. Our Congressional Black Caucus are all about immigration and minorities. Every other group. But when I went to those minorities congressional caucuses, it showed you that they're for their people. They never said minority. They never said diverse or underperforming communities, whatever you want to call it. They never said that. They never said that. But we continue to do this thing, right? Well, let me show you something, family, because maybe you don't understand the Congressional Black Caucus. This have never seen. Let me blow this up. This is September 10th of this year. It says, Dear Speaker Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Schumer, as members of the Congressional Black Caucus, we write to reiterate, because we already wrote this before. We write to reiterate our strong support for including a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, Hispanics, essential immigrant workers, Asians, and everyone else except people that look like you and I, farm workers, Hispanics, and temporary protected status holders in the final versions of the Build Back Better reconciliation bill. This letter is from the Congressional Black Caucus to Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, and Majority Leader Schumer. They have never written a letter like this for our people. And this is the Congressional Black Caucus. Again, we're talking about everybody else except our own people. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, family. Because over and over again, we continue to get smacked. So I said, let me go and do some research. I wonder if one of our leaders before they passed ever gave us a hint. And I know automatically some of you are thinking Malcolm X, but what if you got it from somebody that white America prompts up, right? Who's the most dominant figure in Black history that white America prompts up? His name is on streets and avenues and roadways and tollways, and he actually has his own day. You said it. The Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King. So let's see what Dr. Martin Luther King said about this. Can you, Minister, can you educate us? Because a lot of times people haven't heard and seen everything you have done. The only thing they heard is, I had a dream today. But he spoke more about dreams. And he started talking more about reality a little bit later on. Listen to this.
At the very same time, America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe.
Fair use, fair use.
Floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents. Further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize that farm. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they're the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
Wow. I couldn't say it any better myself. He said it the best. He said it the best. So you had to hear from the best. So Dr. Martin Luther King, before he died, he realized that the powers that be tells you one thing in your face and does other things behind closed doors. I just want you guys to understand what I'm saying and look at that for a quick moment. Biden probably tells lawmakers not to expect much on reparations legislation. Just let that sink in just for a little bit. After everything I showed you here, it doesn't matter if the politician or black is white. It really isn't. It should matter, but it doesn't. Because we understand that the people that we have elected to represent us, those are the ones who are doing the undermining the most. Because again, we go by that whole you're in by your skin. So there's somebody else that I wanted to show you guys here very quickly. Because that was Dr. Martin Luther King. And I kind of wanted to get where his daughter thought about this very same thing as well. So let's see what she has to say, family.
My heart is extremely heavy right now. And I hope all who hear this message and have the power to do something will act. While I, like so many of you, care deeply for the families separated at our border and believe that assisting them is the just thing to do, I question how the president of this nation has it in his heart to consider this without also expressing and working to fulfill the need for reparations for Black people who have endured generations of physical and relational, psychological, legislative, and yes, economic trauma.
Fair use.
As my father said, we must recognize that we can't solve our problem now until there is a radical redistribution of economic and political power. This radical redistribution must include, in my words, comprehensive reparations for Black people.
There you have it, family. That was Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter. I'm just trying to figure out when we're going to wake up as a people. Right? And the only way that we can do that if we share information, right? We still give our people the right to choose whatever they want to do with their vote. And this is not against anti-voting. Okay, it's not that. But when you show people plain as day, you let them read from the horse's mouth, give them videos, give them information of what these people are actually saying, that it be the Congressional Black Caucus, that they're not for you. As you can tell, the Congressional Black Caucus, as I showed you, are for minorities and immigrants. That's everybody else except Black Americans. Have you noticed how our population haven't risen? Like, it's been 13.4 for a very, very long time. But you see that the Hispanic and the immigration and of the groups population are rising, right? Because population growth is more like the comparison to other groups, right? It's like a ratio. They use this in hard algorithms. So we need to understand how they compress, and we need to understand how they are simply not for us. See, our parents, our friends, our loved ones, they believe if they go out and they vote, they're making a difference. And some of them even understand that they're not going to do anything for Black people, but they believe it's their duty, their honor to go out and vote. See, I like to show people the disrespect. I went to all those congressional websites to show you the disrespect right in your face. We put it right on our website. The Asian Pacific Islander Caucus said Asian and Pacific Islanders. It didn't say minorities. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus said Hispanics. It did not say minorities. But you go to the Congressional Black Caucus website, they don't say Black. They say minorities. That means every group that is not white, except for white women, because they're included in that as well. This information is very important so you can make a decision. Now, as plain as it may be, if your ass still going to vote, there's no help. There's no help for us. People get on TV, and that's why the Democrats lost Virginia. And did they leave Minnesota as well? Because some of us are waking up. Some of us are saying, you know what, hold up. I keep voting and I see them doing everything for everybody else. You're giving Afghans $450,000 as they come over here. Not Afghans. Afghans got the 6.3 billion. My apologies. Afghans got 6.3 billion to resettle in the United States, hundreds of thousands of them. And then those from the south of the border, illegally in the country, there's a possibility that they get $450,000 and $500,000. That is your reparations. I mean, I did the computations on it. I did the math on it, and I looked at it and I say, well, we're at least supposed to get 400,000. I did the math. It was roughly around 350. You add in inflation at 5.4%, 0.83, 0.7%. You get around $400,000. And they're illegal to the country. See, I don't get how I go to HR 1909 and as the act for citizenship for essential workers who are illegal aliens. I simply don't understand. I don't understand. Okay. But again, we understand, a lot of us even said it to ourselves. These people are just doing the jobs that nobody wants. Okay. Okay. So let me give you some context. Citizenship for Essential Workers Act. Who are the essential workers? Aliens working in certain sectors. Who's aliens? Those who are illegal and foreign to your land. So I wonder what jobs they're doing: healthcare, emergency response, sanitation, restaurant ownership, hotel, fish and porch, commercial and residential landscaping, commercial residential construction, housing, residential. Yeah. None of our people are in nursing. None of our people are in EMT. None of our people are building houses. Yeah, none of our people own restaurants. Yeah, they're doing all the jobs. They're taking all the jobs. That's what people would say, right? That nobody wants. But last time I checked, I saw many restaurants owned by Black people and white people. But no. I've seen many Black people build houses and white people build houses, not just illegal aliens. I've seen many Black nurses, many white nurses, Asian nurses, healthcare, doctors, Black doctors, white doctors, Asian doctors. I'm just saying, when we look at this, family, this is the benign neglect that we get because they know most of us are not going to go out and read. But that's okay. That's why I'm here. I'll read it for us. Because you know what? If you don't like to read, just come on over here to Ross World. Come over here to Financial Literacy 101. I'll read it for you. Because in that you understand things like this. Joe Biden sit up on that damn podium and lied and said that we had his back was the truth. Then he said he'll have ours, which was a lie. But see, I knew that. I'm not hurt by that. I'm really not hurt by any of this. The biggest thing that I'm hurt behind, family, is that majority of us has not woken up yet. And some of us, I'm going to tell you right now, family, we literally don't have to do anything and we can get this thing back. We can have power and control back. What am I talking about? They're going to call you guys out and knock on your door and ring your phone and throw fish fries and cookouts and barbecues and play loud music to get you out there and vote. They're going to damn near throw a party to get you out there and vote. Y'all remember that campaign Booty to the Polls where they were showing Black strippers to trying to encourage Black men to go vote? How disrespectful is that? They don't do that with the Asian community, the Hispanic community. No other community do they pander so disrespectfully to. They don't do that. But we have a lot of coon buck dancing Sambos up there who look like us, who are doing the bid of white supremacy in this country. That doesn't mean that every politician is in the system and supporting the system of white supremacy, or are they? I don't know. I'm asking the question. Well, yeah, you went out there, your family went out there, your grandmother went out there, your grandfather went out there, and they voted for him. He gave Native Americans $31 billion. Look it up. He's given Afghans $6.3 billion. Look it up. It's a potential that he's going to give illegal aliens $450,000. Look it up. He told us in our face he will have our back, but behind our back, Biden privately tells lawmakers not to expect much on reparations legislation. If I was lying, I'll be flying. Let me tell you. Shit don't get no better than this. Well, with that being said, family, that's why I tell you to invest your money. You guys have a great and wonderful night. Good thanks go out to Mad Pill and Alaska Skies. Thank you for commenting. I see you. Thank you for agreeing. And ladies and gentlemen, please understand how this country totally ignores you, totally forgets about you, and assists everybody else. I'm just going to say, before you vote, I really want you to think about what you're voting for. because it's important. If you say you're voting for health care, that's for everybody. But all these other groups vote for their groups. They vote for their own special interests. See, you're voting for everybody while everybody else are voting for their people. You need to wake up. You need to vote. And here's the thing. If they're going to do something for all other groups, then why in the hell will I ever vote? You guys have a good night.